I rely honestly on a lot of people that are smarter than me in the areas that I don't know how to do something, and I bring them in and create a team. And all I have to do is just put the right people in the right spot and have the vision.
Sure.
So that's kind of what I did, to be honest with you. So I don't know all the answers to everything, but I have a pretty good gut about people, and I can recognize talent and just bring in the right people to make it work. But of course, in the beginning, you don't really have money, so I really don't have money to do it all. But I brought in other people that were starting out too. So
gotcha.
I really think along the way, everything from my media guys to people that I worked with, it's like I didn't hire a big company to come in and do, electrical work. I hired a small time guy, you know what I mean? And then, but it's definitely all about surrounding yourself by the right people.
Would you also say that switching it to being more family, instead of being hardcore bodybuilding and switching it more to hey, this is a place for everybody, this family friendly, has been an aid to helping you 10x your gym?
It has. So we're still edgy. So this gym still has an edgy vibe, but we definitely changed it, and that was definitely number one on my list, was to change the market base and broaden it from just hardcore bodybuilders to be able to make people feel comfortable that they could come in here, because people would see it like, man, that looks like a cool place, but I'm not ready to go there. It looks intimidating. Just like I was intimidated to buy the thing myself. So I understood that. And you know what? I think I was able to pull from my own experience and how I felt in a gym. And that kind of goes into a lot of the way I run the gym, because we have a lot of fitness people in Houston, a lot of really great physiques here, and people that it was kind of cliquey almost. So I was like, I don't want to feel like how I used to feel going into a gym, where I wasn't like part of this crowd, or I wasn't an elite or a pro or something like that. You know what I mean? So, and it was like, because I was trying to get into that world, but I was like a newcomer, and I could feel that with people, and so I was like, I don't want that to perpetuate that in my gym, because I know what that feels like. The elite people won't talk to you, kind of thing. So that's kind of been my platform, honestly, and it's worked, because it's kind of weird how they always say, it starts from the top and the vibe goes down, the owner or whatever. And it's like some magical thing of how that works, but it does. So it's kind of like you set the tone of your business, right? You set the tone. So because of how I was, and because all of a sudden when I became the owner, I became ranked up there with all the elite people, right? Because I'm the owner, you know what I mean? But because I'll take the time to talk to everybody and make everybody feel special and valued. And I've even had, meetings with my training staff and be like, hey, Arnold didn't become Arnold because he was too big of a big deal, or he got annoyed if someone came and interrupted his workout. He was always charming. He was always charismatic. He'd always smile and talk to everybody. And that's how he became Arnold. You know what I mean? He wasn't like an elitist type of mentality around everybody, because we wouldn't be here if you didn't have the fans, or if you don't have the customers. So I think I just took how I always felt about things and decided, well, now I have a platform and now it's my business, so I'm going to change that and set the culture here. So the culture of the gym has always been a real big high priority to me. And I think that really caught on, especially in the beginning. And I always treated the customers, like if I ever had a customer that couldn't, pay his monthly rent, I would talk to him back, well, what's going on? He'd be like, man, I just lost my job and this and that. I'd be like, but I see you in here every day. I mean, fitness is pretty important to you, right? And he's like, yeah, I mean, it's what keeps me sane and stuff like that. He or she, or females too. And I would say, well, like, you know what? Look, just you stay. I'll take care of this membership. When you get back on your feet in a month or two, then you can start paying the dues again. You know what I mean? And I think by doing that, just anything I could to set this culture and this vibe, especially in the beginning, that's like it catches on. You know what I mean? What they're about over there. That's what I did.
I caught two things that you just said, which are important that are worth repeating. You used to physically work there and work out there yourself. So you knew the things that most people in the gym or yourself were talking about that should be fixed or should be painted or should always be cleaned. And you got those things done. So you actually believed in what you were selling because you made those changes yourself. So that's A, that I picked up what you just did. So, and the other one is having meetings with your teams. That is so incredibly important because so many gym owners will just buy a place, put equipment in it, put some bodies in there and expect, things to get done and then complain when the person's on their cell phone all day or not making sales. You can only expect what you inspect. So if you're not having meetings or setting numbers for people or have a certain set of guidelines for your people to follow, it's going to be willy-nilly. So just from what you were saying, I picked up two things of extreme importance that you said, which I know helped with, with growing your club. And like you just said, culture, you're an in shape dude. If you're feeling intimidated, how do you think the person that hasn't worked out in 3 years is going to feel when they're walking in, they need to lose 50 pounds or whatever? So by you changing that culture up, dramatic change. So awesome job all the way around there.
I remember you telling me, Brian, like you're a musician and you can't see all your fancy guitar collection behind you, but he has a lot of really nice guitars back there. And look at that. And I remember you saying, like, as a musician, you draw inspiration from other artists, but you make it your own. And you made your gym your own. You drew inspiration from other gyms, but really it's uniquely what you envisioned. And so I think that's really cool that you brought in what you wanted the experience to be like for your members. And that's a passion for you. And then that's why they love working there. And what you said about leadership starting from the top is crucial. But the thing is, it's your space and you love how it looks, so much so that you live there sometimes. And so I think that's really cool that you live there all the time. And so your staff or your employees are going to see that passion. I feel like it's lead into their passion for your club. So that's really cool. And I think that's probably a huge reason why it's expanded the way it has, because of your passion. That's for your club.
I think so. It's kind of like when we talked the other day, and I always said, like, if you're going to open a cookie store, you should love cookies. Like the guy who owns that chocolate chip cookie company, like that dude, I expect that he like when he's at home, you should love cookies. Like you have no business owning a business. It's kind of like you approach it from two angles. One, I'm just trying to make some money and pay the bills. Okay, great. It's not going to do as good as somebody as, that cookie guy who just absolutely loves cookies and is just crazy about them. I really haven't paid myself that much here. Now I'm lucky because I have another job, and this turned into my working on my second career that now has taken off, and now I'm setting myself up. But because I had the financial leeway to not have to take a big owner's pay, I've been able to reinvest a lot into this. And it is as cliche as it sounds. I even hate saying this, but I kind of don't do it for the money. It's the truth. I mean, do I want to get paid? Yes, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to get the fruits of your labor kind of thing. I mean, it is a business. You do work your butt off all the time, 7 days a week, pretty much. But I do it because I think it's super cool. I'm into it. I do love it. And that's the way I approach it. When I walk in the gym, I look at it like if I pretend like if I was in a new city and I walked in a new place, and I'd be like, wow, this is really cool. Check this out. And then I'll look in the corner and find something, you know what? But I don't like that. You know what I mean? And then, so I'm always looking at it in that angle. What's the music like? What's the vibe? What does it look like here? What's the arrangements? What's the lighting? What's the, all those kind of things. But that's the angle I approach it. It's most definitely a passion project for me, because a good friend of mine told me this too. You put yourself into it. It's a reflection of what's inside you, and that's the manifestation of it on the outside. To me, it's a piece of artwork. It's a piece of passion. It's also what it does to people functionally, in their life. It means a lot. Like Anthony, is probably a better businessman than me. I can tell by talking to him, and I have a lot of respect for that. So I would want someone like Anthony on my team. You know what I mean? Because I'm kind of the vision guy. I walk in and I'm all about what's it feel like in here? What's it feel like? What is it? How does it make me feel? And I approach it from that level. You know what I mean? But it's worked. It's then that's the space I occupy in this gym. And, and then there's the other side that I'm still learning how to do better at, which is, the business side of the house, the numbers. I do well at it, but it's something that I have to force myself to learn that, because naturally I'm more of the creator.
Yep. And you lead by example, which is the number one thing of where I think a lot of gyms, most people are saying this and they're like, well, okay, what he's saying is kind of what you're doing. You took a gym that was $15,000 a month, and now would you say how much you roughly averaging a month in sales?
About 130.
130. Yeah. So you more than 10. Yeah. So that just goes to show you, when you lead by example, if you're just going to open a gym, never going to show up there. Yeah. It takes a lot more to get to $130,000, because if there's no one leading by example, hey, that's the owner, and they're actually cleaning up or helping wipe down the equipment and do that. Yep. And if you do it, employees will follow your example. They're going to do what you do. If they see that you're not there and you don't care, they're going to be on Instagram all day. And it's going to be a constant saying, why are you on your phone? No, be on your phone. And when you lead by example, they just inherently just do the right thing.
That's super important. I love to make it a point to go out there and clean the machines and stuff like that, because I know that they see that. And then that's the same thing I tell my staff is, hey, I want the gym members to see you doing it. There's a lot of value there. And I always tell my employees, I'm like, anything I'm asking you to do, I guarantee you I've done it many times. I've done anything that I've asked you guys to do. I have done it. Everything from scrubbing the toilets to scrubbing floors. I mean, I've come out of here completely covered in dirt and sweat. And so it's like, I've never asked anybody to do anything that I haven't done at least 10 or 20 times before. So, I know all the ins and outs of the business, and that's important too. You got to know everything. So it's a lot different than a guy the manager who would walk in, more corporate in the button up and stuff like that, and just goes around, I think they know that I've done all this stuff. And then I'm not like an IFBB pro or anything like that, because we've got a lot of pros here, but I have competed 4 times, and I was a trainer, and I was a coach. So because I have that knowledge base, I think that's important, to have the knowledge base to deal with everybody, so you can speak everybody's language and they'll respect you. You know what I mean? Granted, I've never made it to a pro status or anything like that, but the trainers know that I've competed. They know that I used to train people, and they know that, so they can respect me in that way. And I think that's important too.
You think that would be your biggest piece of advice to a new gym owner, as far as just having that wealth of knowledge first and then going from there? What would you say? What would you tell a new gym owner to get to the level that you're now with all of your experience?
I would just say, make it yours. Be you and make it yours. It's your vision. It's your expression. Don't try to just copy what somebody else does, because the world doesn't need another LA Fitness or another Iron City for that fact. You know what I mean? That's what I do. You're not going to do it as good as I do, and I'm not going to do what you do as good as you do. So I mean, quite simply put, I would say, make it authentically you. It's like the best thing you have to sell the world is you. I remember watching, it was a podcast, I think, that I was watching about this lady who was a realtor, and she was trying to close deals. And I'm going to say the story because I think it's so true with me too. And it's kind of like, she's like, I knew every kind of deal, she's like, I knew everything you could know as a realtor. And she said, but I wasn't closing any deals, so I was going to quit. And she said, but so the last day, I had one house to show, so I was going to go ahead and do it. She goes, but I didn't even care anymore because I was already going to quit. She says, so I picked that person up and went to show them the house. And instead of, she said to herself, I'm not going to do any sales pitch. I'm not going to do any of my, all my different formulas that I know. And she was just her. So she just decided to be herself. And so she just talked to the person and acted like, hey, let's go look at this house, this and that, and left all the professional sales stuff out the window. And she sold the house like that. And so the moral to the story was that she was authentically her. You know what I mean? She just brought her. And that's like, I think the best thing you have to sell is yourself. So maybe I have successfully just been authentically me. And, some things, and I've gotten some flack, some things I've done, some people have not liked, like, don't do that, because it's been outside the box. But overall, the marketplace has rewarded it. And I've done what I thought was cool, what I would do. And I just, and I had the guts to do that. And so I think I can attest that that's a
way to do it.
That works.